The golden belt deeply captivated the boy. Unable to resist, he asked the man, "How can I be as cool as you?" The man smiled and pointed to the ground. "There are treasures everywhere here. It just depends on whether you have the guts to dig for them." At that moment, the boy had an epiphany. The man was talking about oil. Didn't say another word and quietly turned to leave. He walked down the street, lost in thought. Suddenly, a girl brushed past him, and time seemed to stand still at that very moment. The girl took the initiative to wave at him. She invited him to a party that evening. As they spent more time together, the two quickly fell in love. Although they should have grown old together, the tranquility was shattered by the sudden news of war. The front line was in dire need of soldiers. Mark lied about his age and resolutely enlisted. Despite the girl's attempts to dissuade him, he still chose to fight for his country. The new recruits trembled with fear upon arriving at the battlefield. When the officer asked for a volunteer to deliver a message, no one dared to respond. Mark stepped forward and took on the task. He never missed an opportunity to challenge himself. Time flew by, and 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. The boy had transformed into a calm and collected man. He used all his savings to purchase drilling equipment but failed day after day. Faced with the pressure of supporting his family, he was on the verge of giving up hope. That is, until one day, while practicing baseball with his son, the child's innocent question sparked a revelation. "Dad, you can't throw a curveball? Why not find a professional coach?" Those words were an eye-opener for Mark. He immediately hired an oil field exploration expert. As he watched the surveyor fiddle with sophisticated instruments, Mark was skeptical. That is, until one day, he rushed into the house covered in oil, and his wife hugged him with excitement. They had finally struck black gold. The survey report showed reserves as high as 500,000 barrels. Earning money hand over fist was no longer a dream. Just as his career was taking off, jealous farm owners sued him. Mark hired top-notch lawyers to fight back. When the opposing counsel discovered that the contract had expired 2 months prior, the attorney, who specialized in divorce cases, immediately fled in panic. Mark promptly hired him as his legal advisor for a hefty sum. With the support of an elite team, Mark established a vast oil empire. However, as he was busy conquering the business world, he neglected to discipline his children. They gradually developed the habits of spoiled rich kids. When acquiring the last company, the stubborn chairman was reluctant to sign. On Christmas Eve, even the lawyers went home to be with their families, while Mark kept vigil alone. It wasn't until the next morning that he understood this was the chairman's ultimate test for him. When the newspaper headlines announced him as a billionaire, there was no one to celebrate with him in his empty mansion. At that moment, he finally realized that when wealth accumulates to an astronomical figure, all that's left is a cold bank balance.